birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mama. Happy birthday to you. Yay!
The most embarrassing moment of my life? That's easy. That was at my Zayde's funeral. That's my Zayde there. This wasn't his funeral, this was his 96th birthday party. His funeral was about 6 months later.
Du bist bei mir, du mein Leben. Du bist bei mir, du mein Leben.
When I was growing up, my Zayde loved to tell me stories about all his notorious childhood friends. Meyer Lansky, Dutch Schultz, Bugsy Siegel, and all the thugs in Murder Incorporated. Because my Zayde and I were so close, I had the honor of giving the eulogy at his funeral. I told the family and friends who had gathered that I considered it lucky that my Zayde managed to stay alive with friends like his. That's when I noticed people looking at each other, confused. My father, never known for his tact, shouted out, "Boychik, what the hell are you talking about?" "Well," I said, "with friends like Meyer Lansky, Dutch Schultz, and Bugsy Siegel, you stood a pretty good chance of getting killed." My dad stood up and yelled, "Your Zayde never had friends like that. Where did you get such a mashuganer idea?" "Well, from Zayde," I said. "He told me stories about them when I was growing up." Just then, everyone burst out laughing. I was very confused. Then my mom rose to her feet and said, "Your Zayde wasn't a gangster. He was a furrier, just a furrier. Those stories he told you were just stories." Like I said, that was the most embarrassing moment of my life. But the more I think about it, the more I realize my Zayde wasn't just a furrier. He was also a wonderful storyteller. And I like to think that maybe some of that rubbed off on me. And I also think, hey, those old-time gangsters had lots of girlfriends, and they probably gave them lots of expensive gifts. And some of those gifts were probably furs, and my Zayde was a furrier, so it's possible, and maybe even probable, that they bought furs from him. So yeah, I guess I can say that my Zayde probably did know Dutch Schultz, Meyer Lansky, Bugsy Siegel, and the thugs in Murder Incorporated. Just a quick word about my Uncle Hyman. He's better, thank you. My enigmatic and soft-spoken Uncle Hyman is a man of very few words and very long silences. And over the decades, whenever I'd ask him, "How you doing, Uncle Hyman?" he'd always respond, "Better, thank you." And that's about all he'd say. But I've always wondered, better than what? So at this family get-together, I decided to press him for more information. When he said, "Better, thank you," I fired back with, "Better than what, Uncle Hyman?" And without missing a beat, he looked at me and said, "Yes." And then he turned away and was silent. Well, I still see Uncle Hyman on occasion, and I still ask him how he's doing, and he still answers, "Better, thank you." I like to think that it's his way of telling me that he's better than he's ever been before. And I wish I could say the same for myself. Let me tell you a story about my old friend, Nathan. That's Nathan there, fooling around with his wife and kids in their New York City apartment. This was 1990. He asked me to lend him my camcorder so he can get some shots of his family before he left for his last trip down to the Amazon rainforest. Nathan was my oldest and dearest friend. We both shared a deep love of storytelling, even when we were kids. And when we grew up, Nathan became a respected anthropologist who collected stories from authentic sources all around the world. Nathan believed that stories were what united us as a species on every continent, in every culture, in every era. The need to create and tell stories, folk tales, myths, legends, that's what really made us all human. Then Nathan heard from a fellow anthropologist about a small, reclusive tribe deep in the Amazon rainforest that apparently did not have any storytelling tradition. Nathan's next steps were clear. He organized an expedition to find this tribe. He simply had to discover if the story was true. The day after shooting this family video, he set off for Brazil. During the expedition, a dam upriver in the rainforest burst and flooded the entire region. Nathan and his expedition were never heard from again. And if that tribe ever existed, it was surely wiped out by the flood. 2 years later, I married Nathan's widow. And if there's a lesson to be learned, it's this. Real life takes twists and turns that even the most imaginative storytellers cannot ever imagine or anticipate, which may explain why this story seems unrealistic, unbelievable, and perhaps even ridiculous. But that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. My sister? Funny you should ask. I just got another videotape from her. Wait, I'll put it on. You know, I haven't seen my sister in about 5 years, but she's been sending me these videotapes. They started coming about 3 years ago, and there was a very pretentious note with the first one. It said, "Hey, big brother, I've decided to document my adventures. My interesting life takes me in so many directions. The things I experience are glorious, beautiful, and amazing. So I got myself a video camera so others can see the world through my eyes. I'm sending you the tapes as I shoot them for safekeeping. I won't even look at them until I'm ready to edit them, if I ever decide to do that." So the tapes started piling up here, and finally I got curious. So I decided to take a look. And what did I find? My Michiganer sister doesn't know how to operate her camera. All the tapes look like this because she presses the stop button when she means to start recording, and she presses the start button when she means to stop recording. So basically there's just hours and hours and hours of footage of the lens cap. But if you ask me, this is a more accurate portrait of my sister than anything she could intentionally shoot. What a piece of work she is. My sister is always scrambling, and I'm stuck at home taking care of our elderly and infirm mother. Oh, look here. Every so often my sister actually manages to press the right button at the right time so we can see where she is and what she's doing.
Mount St. Helens has erupted about 10 minutes ago. I'm trying to get what I can on screen and keep my hands still. I guess not much is happening. It would be pretty amazing if, while holding this camera, we hear a big kaboom. But that's Mount St. Helens in an eruption.
I decided to share this piece of videotape with our overly neurotic mom, and that was a big mistake. She saw this and said, "What's she doing by a volcano? She's gonna get herself killed." Ah, but that's the wonder of my sister. If you or I tried to live the way she does, we'd get ourselves killed. But she always manages to survive her crazy adventures. Not that I'm jealous or anything.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time for me to give Mom her sponge bath. I teach cinema studies at the university, and I had this very peculiar student in my avant-garde film course. He was the hypersensitive hermit type. No friends, very insecure, never participated in class discussions. But after class, he'd follow me around and talk to me, sometimes for more than an hour, about his theories of cinema and about the videos he was shooting. He said he was creating a cinematic language that would give people a new way of looking at the world. And after much coaxing, he finally agreed to show me his videos. And all they were, really, were not very interesting images shot with an upside-down camera. It seems that all he really did was take his camera wherever he went and shot whatever was in front of his lens with his camera upside down. Now, because he was so sensitive, I didn't want to sound too critical. So I said, "You like to shoot things upside down?" And he replied, "I'm creating a cinematic language that will give people a new way of looking at the world. You can see that, can't you?" Well, when I suggested that he review the groundbreaking films of Maya Deren, Stan Brakhage, Ken Jacobs, Kenneth Anger, Hollis Frampton, Ernie Geer, and all those greats, he became silent and seemed to sink deep into himself. Then he walked away with his head down, and I never saw him again. About a week later, I heard that he had hanged himself. They found him in the shabby room he rented in town. But he didn't just hang himself. True to his vision, he strapped an upside-down camera to his body. Since I was his cinema studies teacher, they thought I should have this, his last video. Hungry for nostalgia, I found myself digging in a box of old VHS tapes that I shot of my family way back when my kids were kids and their mother was still alive. I stumbled upon this tape and realized how much I've forgotten over the decades.
Ellie, why don't you put in the battery pack while I put the camera on the tripod?
How long does the battery last?
About half an hour. We're rolling.
I don't remember my house ever looking like this.
Hey, you're supposed to be describing things.
That's right. One China soup tureen, purchased 1976. 3 pieces, cost $90.
Hey, how about my valuables?
Pile them up on the table.
Here's my collection. What about the camera? It's pretty valuable.
That's right. What do you think it's worth?
I'd say it's just about priceless.
I don't remember my wife and kids ever looking like this.
You got it.
All right.
And I don't remember me ever looking like this.
Oh, what a ham.
What am I supposed to do? Cheer for me. Boo! Strike 'em out, Dad.
I don't remember us ever playing ball together in the backyard.
Hey!
Good.
This man's ready! Hey, everybody. My husband at work.
No, all we ever do is you have to do your homework. Okay, you're being punished now.
Hey, that's a great camera. Oh, it's terrific.
I don't remember these friends. They look like nice people, but who are they?
There's so many different ways you can shoot with this camera.
The trick is to make notes and plan before you shoot. Sometimes we even write a script.
And at Carrie's birthday party, Dad let me be the director, right?
The important thing is to know what you want ahead of time.
Yeah, it's more fun than a new car.
Just don't kick it.
This looks like a nice place, but when did I ever live here?
The two of us, we're becoming family historians.
The list of things you can do with home video is endless. You can keep your own video scrapbook, a family diary. You can take your...
And I don't remember who that man is, or what he's doing in my family movie. Maybe all this happened before my accident, but I don't even remember having an accident.
The only limit is your own imagination.